All right, it's day number 164 in our New Testament readings, and we're going to look at Second Timothy chapter 2. Here are my three things. Jesus brand Christianity should go viral. What this means is the original vision that Jesus had for the Christian church was a vision that everyone would go out and make disciples, who would go out and make disciples, who would go out and make disciples, etc., etc. This is what we're going to see in this chapter. It's one of my favorite verses in the whole Bible. And this is, I think, what's wrong with many churches today. Second thing, the message of Jesus is uncomplicated. There's a tendency to, as we sort of continue to grow as an institution, the Christian institution worldwide, it's been 2,000 years now, there's a tendency to complicate the message with seminaries and doctrine and all this stuff. And the core message is uncomplicated. Third thing, young believers, young followers of Jesus must be proactive in faith, especially nowadays. Paul is writing to Timothy, who is a young pastor. He's a young minister. He's a protege of Paul's. Paul's about ready to die in prison. And so he's trying to pass this on to young Timothy. And he tells Timothy, you've got to be proactive. If you're reactive, you're never going to make it. All right, let's look at the text. Verse 2, you have heard me teach things that have been confirmed by many reliable witnesses. Now you teach these truths to other trustworthy people who will be able to pass them on to others. So you see 4 or maybe even 5 generations here in this one verse. Paul is saying, I've passed it on to you. Somebody passed it on to me. You should pass it on to someone else. And those people should pass it on to somebody else. See, Jesus brand Christianity is supposed to work like this. It should be viral, passing it on from one person to the next, from one generation to the next. Second thing, in verse 8, he says, always remember that Jesus Christ was raised from the dead. This is the good news that I preach. Look at how simple it is. And as you read the rest of this chapter, you're going to see that he's talking about don't let it get complicated. Don't quarrel over stupid little things. We tend to do that in the church. He's saying, just remember this basic thing. This is the gospel. This is the basic thing that I've been preaching, Paul says, ever since I got my eyes open to this truth back in Acts chapter 9. Jesus Christ was raised from the dead, right? So in other words, Jesus is Lord. This is central to the message. You really don't have to know very much more than that to go out and help someone pursue God. Last thing. And here's that message to young people out there. So if you're young, pay attention to verse 22. Run from anything that stimulates youthful lusts. Instead, pursue righteous living, faithfulness, love, and peace. Look at how proactive Paul is telling young Timothy to be. Run. Don't be indifferent to youthful lusts. He says, run from it, right? And in its place, he said, proactively pursue righteous living and faithfulness and love and peace. In fact, he says, hang out with people who have these kinds of pure hearts. Because young people, you're going to need to remember this if you really want to succeed as a pursuer of God in life. So, those are my 3 things for 2 Timothy chapter 2. Go ahead and read it for yourself and see if maybe you come up with some of your own key insights. And we'll see you in the next video.